to the Francesca Crosfill podcast.
Thank you.
Mr. Crosfill.
Thank you.
And for those that don't know you, can you just share a little bit with the audience
Of who I am.
of who you are and what you do
Okay.
and why I've dragged you here?
So I am Martin Crosfill, Francesca's husband. I run a business, a security business. That's what I do for a living. I'm a father, a husband, and yeah. You brought me back here to talk about ego death, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
And because, I'll say it again, I think your wisdom, your knowledge, how good you are at explaining things, and your...
I try. I might not be everybody's cup of tea.
And you're a podcast lover yourself.
I do like a good podcast.
You do. You're always listening to them.
I do.
So, ego death is the topic
Yep.
for today's show.
Yep.
And it's hopefully going to share with people something that I'd never heard of or come across in the past until I met you.
Yep.
And it just blew my mind what you told me. And I also thought you were incredibly crazy for what you did.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, what for you is ego death, and what does ego death mean?
Deep question, but ego death is when you lose every attachment to who you are. This is going to be hard to put into words, but it's when you lose all identity for oneself. Let me explain in a different way. So, if somebody comes to me and asks who I am, the first, or ask anybody, who are you? The first thing a person says is the name. So if I come up to you and say, hello, I'm Martin, who are you? Oh, I'm Francesca. But that's just a name. And that's a name that your parents give you. The real question on a deeper level of who are you, many people can't answer that. Because we tend to put attachments to things to give it meaning. Ego death gets rid of all that, in the sense of you are not just Francesca, you are not just this person. It's almost like everything just melts away and fades away, and it's just like you start to truly understand what you are from inside on a soul level.
Sorry.
No. So like ego controls a lot of things. Fear. And of course it is good to have fear in some aspects, but fear's not real. Danger's very real, but fear's not real. It's a created thing. From an ego creates that. Ego also creates confidence, which of course a lot of people think that's a great thing. But then there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, or skill set and confidence. You can be confident about something, but what you know absolutely nothing in, which it'll get you so far, but there is a cut-off point where that confidence no longer matters. What you can actually achieve matters. So confidence ego is how you perceive or how you present yourself to other people from a perspective. And when that fades, that no longer matters, because you know who you truly are. It's so hard to explain into words. I can only really talk you through my experiences of my ego death at the time, but it is one of the hard. I find it very difficult to put into words because it's a profound feeling.
Is it fair to say that it sounds like a real state of higher consciousness?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because once ego goes, there's no boundaries of thought.
Well, considering how many thoughts I have a day, that sounds epic.
There's no limitations to understanding, because ego's also analytic. Ego makes you analyse things, and like we spoke about it before, even with my business, like the fear of, oh no, if I do this or if I don't do this and this, because that comes up all the time when you're running a business, and them little fears and insecurities pop up. Well, imagine if you didn't have ego, that would not pop up at all. None of that would pop up, because that's the ego stepping in.
Mm.
You know, that feeling where you're right near the edge of a height, if you're scared of heights, it's the ego what's bringing the fear in to protect you. Ego protects you. And it can do some really good things by taking you a long way, as I said, confidence and stuff like that. Or it can, you know, but at the same time, it can limit you as well through fear and installing fear. And as I said, fear is not real.
Okay. So, the experience that you decided to embark on, that we're going to talk about shortly, was that the first time you can say that you kind of had an ego death?
Properly, where it completely melted away. That was probably the most profound feeling that I've ever had. Before that, I'd experimented in. I'm not really into drugs, but I used to every now and then do magic mushrooms, psilocybin. And my advice is never do it in a party scenario, because it's not a party kind of thing. And that's what a lot of people think magic mushrooms are. They're like, it's just a drug to get high. It's actually not. If you do it in quite a respectful way, like I always say, respect the mushroom. Like,
respect the medicine.
Yeah, respect the mushroom. Whatever medicine you're gonna take in that way, just respect it. And by doing so, by showing that amount of respect to the medicine, you can learn so much about yourself. You can get downloads. It is literally like you're downloading from the universe information, but it's not just information about you either. Sometimes it's about your environment, the people in your environment. You can learn a lot. And I would say I haven't always had an ego death through that. I've just learned things. What we're going to be talking about, that was a true, everything faded away. Even my body faded away. And the only thing that were left was my consciousness. Nothing else existed. I think that was a true ego death. There was no image of me. It's like I didn't exist in the form I am now. It was just pure energy and consciousness in that what you would call a trip, yeah.
So what was it that made you want to embark on this journey or offering? Yeah.
So for those that I've seen our previous podcasts, I spoke about my life before I met you, what I was going through, that kind of thing. And it was ultimately the depression. When I was going through the depression, a friend of mine had mentioned this particular medicine and stated that I should do some research on it, which I did. And this particular medicine has been taken by many, many people across the world. And it's cured, well, this is what the claim was, is that it's cured depression, it's cured addiction, heroin addiction, it's cured so many people, so many things to do with mental health as well, which I thought that were amazing for me, because I just kind of wanted an explanation as to why my mind were in this repeat cycle of the depression. I wanted answers on how I could get out of the depression. At the time as well, this is relevant into when I explain the story, but I felt at the time I had no time. Like, I constantly said there's not enough hours in the day, because I was working like stupid amount of hours. I was working 2 jobs at the time. Obviously my home life at the time wasn't great. The person I was with was constantly arguing. We were never getting on. I were always sleeping outside, or I'd have the door locked or whatever. And I'd never had time. The only time that I had to myself was when I went to the toilet, which it got that bad. So in my head, I was constantly thinking there wasn't enough time. And why that's relevant is the lesson that I learned was that when I did this medicine was, funnily enough, about time, not so much about the depression. But the depression, by learning about the time, it kind of cured the depression. In a sense, it reset my mind. But yeah, that's the reason why I ended up taking that medicine.
And what is that medicine called?
So the medicine is called Bufo.
Bufo.
Yeah, and that comes from a frog. It's a secretion what comes from a frog, and it's the Colorado River frog. Also known, and I hope I get this right, I do apologise if I pronounce it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's called the Sonoran desert frog. And basically it's got some glands behind the eyes that when it feels threatened, it discretes like a milky substance as a defence mechanism. And this milky secretion, what they do is they put it on glass and leave it out in the desert for it to dry, and it almost like crystallises.
Okay.
And then you can scrape it off the glass and you can put it in a pipe and smoke it, basically. And by smoking it, that is how you take the medicine.
So did you smoke this on your own? Was it with a
practitioner?
It was with a
practitioner on my own in my living room. The practitioner came to my house. Now, I do know that it is illegal in the UK, so do not go out there trying to source it. Just know that it is illegal in the UK.
Okay.
Because it has got some toxins in it what aren't the best. But at the time I was desperate and I found a way to be able to get some, so I did so. And this was about 5-6 years ago now, so I don't think it was that heard of back then either. So I think the law was maybe a little bit different. Okay. But within this medicine, there's there's probably a lot more compounds, but the compounds that I was told and I know about, and the ones that I did a bit of research on, was the 5-MeO-DMT, which is a highly hallucinogenic compound. And then there's Bufotin. Yeah, which is also a very, very hallucinogenic compound. And then there's bufotoxin. The bufotoxin is not hallucinogenic. It affects the heart and speeds the heart rate up, which can be dangerous if you have maybe severe heart problems or all like that. So obviously, if anybody is thinking about after this episode maybe getting themselves some, please look into maybe other compounds are in there, and if there's anything that affects your heart, don't do it.
Yeah. Well, we're not exactly recommending people
we're not,
go out
we're not, but
do Bufo. What we're doing is
disclaimer. Please don't go and try it straight away without researching.
Yeah, what we're doing is sharing your experience of this and what happened to you.
Yeah.
So I heard you mentioned DMT in there.
Yeah, DMT, yeah.
Dimethyl-tryptamine.
Yes.
Which is something that we all have within us.
I would say 5-MeO-DMT is probably a lot more potent than DMT. I would say that anyway.
It's a chemical that's released during birth and death.
Fear.
Yeah. So that interested me a lot then when you said that.
Dreams. Supposedly, a lot of your profound dreams are controlled by the DMT that's released from your pineal gland. Yeah. So your third eye. They've done studies in rats or mice where they've released DMT. So they kind of think that it's the same with us, and that's why our dreams go off as if you're in a trip sometimes. But yeah, it's a natural compound as such. You can get synthetic DMT, but that's a different story.
Well, I remember somebody saying to me once, your dreams are so vivid, Francesca, like you would absolutely love psychedelics or mushrooms, because I can literally, I say it's because I'm a Pisces and I'm incredibly intuitive, and I find that my dreams are, well, it's myself telling myself messages, but I do find that, a lot of my dreams come true, or I've foreseen things, and I can write a full page of A4 in a morning, in depth, of my dreams in detail, and they're so real.
Yeah. But that's also with, depending on what people believe, we believe that we're dialed in and we're all attuned to the universal energy. Everything's connected in some way or other. So with that in mind, when you're dreaming, it'll be a download, won't it?
Or a shitload of DMT that I just maybe have.
Yeah, definitely.
So you decided to take this Bufo that's from a frog secretion.
Yeah. It was. It when they explained it, it was a bit like, oh my god, what am I doing?
And did you nearly chicken out? Was there a moment?
Yeah. Because when I'd researched it, the stories that some people had told, it was the fear, ego, straight away fear. And I must admit, it probably one of the scariest things I've ever done with that. I would say, and like, if I were to do it again now, I'd still be hesitant. I probably would do it, but I'd be hesitant. And that's not to say that the trip was awful. It was just a lot. It was overwhelming. Yeah, it was overwhelming. Yeah, it was a lot.
Knowing you as your wife.
Yeah.
I find that quite profound. Profound statement.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. Because
I haven't really come across anything that scares you.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. It was scary. It's hard to explain, like, the first 4 seconds of it. Sci-fi fans would understand it a lot more. I know that sounds daft, but it's true.
Do share.
So, the practitioner came to my living room, did a ritual, set the setting, calm the room, sage and Palo Santo. Palo Santo, yeah. We did a bit of a meditation, because you've got to be in right frame of mind as well. So made the room peaceful. I got comfortable, and the Bufo, this is going to sound mad because the people will be like, why would you want to do that? But the Bufo is put in a pipe, in like a glass pipe. And when I say you smoke it, it's not like you're smoking a cigarette or weed or anything like that. It's, you breathe out, empty your lungs completely, and then light it, and breathe in, and by the time you've got to the top of your breath to release, you're already out. So it's like one drag. It's not even it's that powerful you couldn't smoke it. Maybe you put a really large dose in for me, I'm not too sure, but maybe, there probably is people out there who can smoke it, I don't know.
Did you do your BMI before?
Maybe, but maybe it was a large dose, I don't know, but I remember I was sat up, comfortable, but with pillows and everything behind me and a quilt, and he was there, and obviously as I was going out, he slowly laid me down, and then the rest of the trip I was laid down in a comfortable position with pillows. And then obviously asking him afterwards, what were he doing? He was, meditating, chanting, whatever ritual he was doing whilst I was under, and just keeping an eye and seeing how my body were reacting and things like that. So yeah, just holding space and making sure that I were okay under the trip, I suppose. But yeah, so I remember taking the inhale in, going to release, and I can't remember releasing it. Now, for a sci-fi fan, any sci-fi fans out there, Star Trek, Star Wars, it's almost like my mind was just all black, but it wasn't like I was looking through my eyes, I was looking through here, through my forehead. And it were almost like when in these films, when a spaceship goes into warp, and then as it's setting off, all the stars come flying in at them, and as it's going fast through the universe and all the stars are going, it was like that. Like I'm going down a tunnel, but at the end of it, my mind imploded on itself completely. It just like, my mind all went like inside itself, and then just, you'd expect an explosion, but there were no explosion. And then I just remember that I was in an abyss floating about, but when I say I was, nothing existed, no matter, no physical matter. Like this didn't exist, the table didn't exist, there was no such thing. My body didn't exist, no flesh, no muscle, no nothing. And there was no Martin, it was just my energy. It was almost like my consciousness was there, but nothing else. And there was nothing in this black abyss, nothing at all. And then, when I say a trip, it's not like magic mushrooms or acid where you can see stuff. That you couldn't see anything with this trip. It were all feeling and knowing. So the images that you probably come away with, you didn't see in the trip.
Okay.
It were almost like the trip was happening. Oh my God, this sounds really confusing, but it wasn't like I were walking on an alien, you know, on a different world with bright colours everywhere and talking to some higher beings. It wasn't like that. It was like I were in this black abyss, and I had this overwhelming feeling that I was dead.
Okay.
But when I say overwhelming, it was almost like the trip was convincing me that I died, and I totally forgot in that moment that I'd even just smoked that pipe. So I was so confused as to what's going on, because I had no recollection of smoking a pipe. What am I doing here? So it took me a while of more or less accepting that I was dead. So the practitioner said there was a point where my body was started shaking, and that was my ego fighting the acceptance of that I died. And then when I finally accepted that I died, and in my head I'm like, okay then, where do I go now? My body calmed down, and that's when my ego completely died. My ego let go and just accepted the fate. But before that, what happened was when people who have died say you judged and all this lot, and God's gonna judge you, like religious people, God's gonna judge you. That did happen, but it wasn't God that was judging me. I was judging me. So like my life flashed up, thoughts process flashed up of all my life, how I'd treated certain people, how they treat me. All sorts of stuff, and I had a lot of regrets, but it were regrets about what I didn't do, not about what I did do. So it were like certain opportunity that had come up and I didn't do it because I thought, it'll never work, or fear. They came up, and then I started regretting about the person I could have been or what I should have been because I made all these decisions. And then it went from that to, I'm really going to miss my kids. I'm really going to miss my mum and dad. I'm really going to miss my sister. Like, I'm never going to see them again. Or like, I'll forget what the face looks like. I'll forget this. They'll never see me again. And that was so overwhelming, knowing that you never go. Because I truly thought I was dead. And it was so overwhelming, the thought of never seeing them again. That was a fight in itself. Like, I remember, again, you can't hear your voice screaming and all like that. It's just all thought process, like knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But you were all knowing this at the same time in seconds. It didn't roll on like a film. It were all this happened at the same time. And then I remember just like almost trying to fight my way back to the living, because I thought I was dead. And then when I realised that I'm never going to go back, they're never going to get to see me, and I just kind of accepted it, and my ego died. Everything just melted away, and I felt peace, complete peace, like unbelievable peace. It was unreal. And then the mad thing is this is where that previous thing that I said about time popped up for no reason. But it wasn't, this is a cliche because you'll have heard loads of people say this, but this actually happened, but I felt it. I didn't see it. I truly felt it. I truly understood it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of showed me the planet when it was like Earth, when it was just molten rock and there was nothing here, like millions and millions and millions of years ago. And then it showed me like Earth now with all the life and this and other, and it was like showing me the lifespan of a human being, which is like 70 to 80 years. But if you think of that across millions of years of the Earth, and the Earth's only new compared to the universe, 70, 80 years is like a fly in our lifetime. It's like a blink of an eye. So a human's lifespan is like a blink of an eye compared to universal time. And then it started showing me that time's not even real anyway, because universal time doesn't matter. It's all interlinked and it always circles round. So then it showed me like on a clock, when it's ticking, we always think, oh, time, you know, we're going to get here late, or when I have to be there on time. Look at what time it is.
Yeah.
What's ticking is not time. What's ticking is your life. Every second that goes by, you're getting a second older. You can never get that back, ever. And there's only 70 years, remember, and there's millions and millions, trillions, billions of years already passed. So 80 years is that's your life. That's another person's life. That's another person's life. That's another person's life gone. So it kind of showed me like, why am I worried about time? Why am I worried about doing this? Why am I always constantly thinking there's not enough time in the day, when reality is you've got 70 years, forget it. Time don't matter, just fucking live your life and get on with it. And within that, realising that I died and all this lot, another thing what happened was all the people that popped up in that flashback of I'm never going to see again, that truly showed me who was important to me.
A fly just flew past.
A fly? Fly's life.
Sorry, carry on, but a fly just literally flew past.
But that showed me who were important to me in them flashes. But the amount of time and investment I used to put into people, and not one of them people flashed up when I thought I were dead.
Wow.
So that really triggered my mind. When I did eventually come out of the trip, my circle became extremely small overnight. I cut everybody out of my life that didn't pop up in that flash.
Wow.
Because when, sorry for the language, but when the shit really hits the fan, what's important to you? And that's what it really, really taught me. And it taught me about time. And it also taught me about, you know, unhappiness and the feeling that you want to die from, depression, suicidal people. It showed me, in a sense, this is what it's like to die. Do you really want that? No, you don't. You're just not happy with who you are right now. You're not happy in the avatar that you are right now because you've created an avatar. You're not happy at the table that you're at right now. Well, change the table, change the scene. You know, do something different. Look at it from a different perspective. Like, if you're not happy with who you are, and you're not happy with your life, then change your life. And that's what it changed. That's what it taught me. And I came back round anyway. After that whole trip, I came round, and obviously I was still high, but the practitioner said that for about a good half an hour I could just keep repeating over and over like a crazy person. This is not real. None of this is real. This is not real. None of it's real. And what I was saying is that none of this is real. None of it. All this is made up in our head, but it's us who create it. So you can create your entire environment from perspective and how you see stuff. So I explain it like this. You look at that cloud and you might see a dog. I'll look at that cloud and might see a flower. Art, you know, you can go to a gallery and it's somebody who's just flicked loads of paint at a painting, and some person will go, that's amazing, it looks like this, but another person will go, that just looks like a splatter of paint, mate. It's all about perspective, and your environment is created by your perspective on the life, what you have or where your mind is at the time. So It did. It showed me that none of this is real. This body's not real. None of it's real. It's just what your mind is creating, which then makes you see it.
Wow.
It was a mad. It was a profound experience, but that's what I experienced with true ego death. Just everything melted away. Worries, matters, fears, expectations, desires, goals, everything just melted away. And then you start realising that all that is it's pointless. What's the point? Goals is good because you can achieve stuff, but you've already got it, in a sense. Like, because it's
all within you.
It's not real. That goal, I want that car, it's a goal, but that car's not real. So with it, if you think about it this way, if it's not real and you're creating an environment, well, you could just create that car coming into your life. Now, I don't know the process of it, but you call it manifestation.
Or vibration.
I don't know.
Or alignment.
I don't know the exact process of it, but if you see it like that, in a sense of it's not real, take the attachment of, am I going to get it or not, away. It just gives you a lot more of a stress-free, laid-back view of things. Like now, you know me, this happened before I met you. With time, I'm not bothered about the time that much, am I? About being late, or a lot of times I'm late to a lot of things, but it's because I just don't care, because it's not real. Whereas before, I was one of them people, I would stress out like mad if I were late. It'd ruin my day if I were late for things.
Do you think that's why your Bufo experience brought time into your awareness, consciousness?
100%, because that's what I was feeling at the time. That at the time, that's what I was worrying about the most. That my life has been taken over that much by other people's priorities, and my energy was being sucked away by energy vampires. That my entire life I was just living to please other people, which then made me feel like I had no time for me. And I think at that moment when I took the Bufo were telling me, listen, don't worry about time, it's not real. Worry about your life. What's ticking away right now is your life. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to keep your life depressed, pleasing other people? Or do you want me to show you what it's like if you died? Who would you miss? Mm-hmm. And then when I came back round, the people who didn't flash up aren't important. So stop investing so much time in them. Mm-hmm. Get rid of them.
Get rid of the dead wood.
Get rid of them, cut them loose. And then by cutting them people loose, the amount of energy and clear head that I had by not having my time sucked away by them people was amazing. Absolutely. The freedom was unreal.
Wow. So, picking up where we left off.
Yeah.
The Bufo taught you about time.
Yeah.
Integrating yourself back into, I call it, Muggle life.
Yeah.
How did you navigate integration back into a sense of normality, whatever normality is, after taking that?
Well, firstly, this is a really weird experience. So, at the time, this was during COVID, and I was still working every day. So I used to do security on the driving site, the COVID testing site in Leeds, a couple of days a week, and then the other couple of days a week I was working for DPD, and my route for DPD was the bottom of the Lake District, so Skipton, Grassington, all the way up to more or less the bottom of the lakes, which I absolutely loved that job. I loved it. I'd even have that job now. It was just so nice being in nature every day. Mm-hmm. And the following day I was at work doing that. So I remember going to work, loading the van early on the morning, being half asleep, and then really start waking up when I'm in the van, like properly waking up.
Yeah.
And I remember driving, everything was fine, didn't experience anything, but for some reason when I got out to nature, and this truly happened, people are going to be like, oh yeah, that sounds like it didn't happen, but it did. I had to pull over because I kept seeing trees almost like green pulsating through them, like veins through every tree, edge, grass. And I pulled over and I called the practitioner and I said to him, could I still be high? off of this, because I feel like I'm hallucinating, and I'm driving. What am I going to do? This is bad. And he said, no, it will still have effects on you for quite a while. And what you probably see in there is energy and aurora. And every living thing that day, as in like even people when I were knocking on the door to give them the parcel, you could literally see like energy just going through them, and like waves of energy. But like trees, you could see almost like veins in them, but it were little green things going up, the like balls of energy going up the veins. It was so weird. But that were really, really good experience. And then how I integrated, as I said, I kind of just distanced myself from all these people overnight. And I found myself, the ones that wasn't just as easy as to cut off, I found that I had absolutely nothing in common with that individual or them people since that moment. It's almost like my brain was reprogrammed in an instant, and I wasn't the same person, or I didn't have the same outlook. So the people who I would have got on with before the medicine, I did not get on with at all. I didn't hate them. It were almost like they weren't my people. I was sat at the wrong table.
Yeah.
Which were really profound. And how I just integrated is that slowly but surely my depression disappeared. But obviously in that time frame, other things helped with the depression, meditations, walks in nature, stuff like that. And I did have some spells where it was really, really, really bad. But after the Bufo, I've never tried anything again. Like, I've never tried to kill myself. I've never tried to do anything. I've never tried suicide. I've not even thought about it, to be honest with you, since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I took the Bufo after the last incident.
Yeah. When you did.
Yeah, after the last incident of suicide ideation and attempt, basically. Yeah. And ever since I've done that, never had an issue. I've never had an issue since. Yeah, I have down days where I'm not happy, but I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
And it's a massive, massive reset. Huge reset. And I don't look at life the same. But here's the thing about ego. Ego never truly dies. It dies in them moments, but eventually it comes back because we need it. It's a survival instinct. It's programmed into us from like caveman days, hunter-gatherer days, when there were prey out there that could, we were food to the prey. The ego is there to put fear, so there's limits for you to not do stupid things in the wild and get eaten. And that's ego's needed in human beings. But it is nice every now and then to have that ego death, to see life without ego. That's where you get the clearest answers to a lot of your questions. So I think everybody should experience ego death. Now, I'm not saying everybody should experience Bufo. Maybe it is for you. Maybe you do want to try it. But it is scary. It is very scary. It is scary. Like when I think back, I think that was the craziest, profound experience I've ever had in my life. And it was terrifying. In the moments of where I thought I was dead and I was never going to see my kids again, I was never going to see these people again. That was so overwhelming. It was. I can't even explain the rushed feeling that I had in them moments. It was very, very, very upsetting. But then after that, the pure peace was unreal. And then when the peace faded, it showed me and taught me about time. But it didn't show me. It would download. I knew inside what it was telling me because there was no visual aspect. Crazy.
Well, it was the first I've ever heard of Bufo.
Yeah, Bufo.
And this type of frog.
Yeah. There's kids in Mexico that pick up frogs and lick the back to try and get a quick high. But no, if you're going to do it, then do it from a proper practitioner, shaman type of person who knows what they're doing and worked with the medicine for quite a long time. But at the same time, you look at, if anybody doesn't know anything about this toad and the Bufo now, it can be quite, at the time I didn't know that, but to get this medicine, the frog has to be in fear. or afraid because it's a defence mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is sometimes it is cruel to probably scare the frog into
absolutely
excreting this chemical.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it boomed, did the Bufo craze over the last few years. So the frogs were becoming, I don't even know, I won't say endangered because I could be wrong, but I know that they were a lot less than what they were before this craze happened. Yeah. So we don't want them frogs to become endangered because of it. So
yeah, and it's about raising that awareness as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to be vegetarian, you know, years and years ago.
Years and years ago, yeah.
You know, you'd have probably, you know, if you'd have known that was the state that the frog was to be in to secrete that milky secretion, then...
It's the same as the Cambo.
I was going to say, the Cambo was the only frog medicine I was aware of prior to meeting you. I've never tried Cambo myself.
Yeah, it didn't really work for me.
It not really worked for you. You know, it's more of a purgative.
Yeah,
medicine.
it's not hallucinogenic. It's a purgative chemical, and it's admitted through the bloodstream. So through a cut, usually on ceremonial, they burn they light a bit of a stick and they burn holes into your skin.
Yeah, you see people with
little marks in the skin, and then they lay the chemical, exactly the same, the glass chemical crystal powder, whatever you want to call it. It's more like a paste actually. They lay that on the lacerations on your skin, and then it seeps in and it goes into your bloodstream, and that's how you do it. And it's supposed to be, your body detects a foreign object. So what the body is designed to do for a foreign object, it raises the temperature in you, to try and burn it out. Mm-hmm. And then if it still hasn't burnt it out, then a lot of ways is your body will force yourself to projectile, vomit, or urinate, go to the toilet, sweat it out, that kind of thing. And it's meant to be a really good purge of toxins, and on a mental level, a good purge of negative thought processes and stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, I did it twice and I never felt anything apart from getting really hot. And that's it. It never did anything to me. A lot of people have said they've done Bufo, and for months they were just on this mad...
Cambo, you mean?
Cambo. Yeah. For months they were on this mad healing journey, and it were profound in the mind. I've just never experienced that, and I've done it twice.
Okay.
So maybe it just didn't work on me, I don't know.
I mean, it comes from a different frog, it comes from a different...
It comes from a giant leaf frog from the Amazonian rainforest, a giant leaf frog. But the same thing, defence mechanism, secrete the chemical. Now the thing is with that, a lot of people, I know people who've done it on a weekly basis to try and purge out, but that's... Or
full moon ceremonies regularly for 3 months.
It's actually a hunting ceremony for tribal. It's like the passing of becoming 18 or the hunter's moon. It's actually almost a celebration. Well, not a celebration, it's a preparation for a big hunt. And they do it like once a year. So they'll do this for a few days to purge the body of everything, make them lighter, whatever it may be, and then they'll go on a giant hunt, and it's almost like a rite of passage. So it's not done in the Amazonian jungle, the tribes, it's not like they're doing it to frogs every day. So the frogs will thrive because they're left alone for a year. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the Western world, unfortunately, and it always happens with every medicine.
We like to monetize things.
Oh, we monetize it, we make it more special than it actually is, and then the craze happens, the boom happens, and now everybody wants to do Cambo, or everybody wants to do Bufo.
Or everyone wants to have a cacao. I mean, well, that's a totally different
the cacao is exactly the same. You can buy it in, your friends who live there.
In Guatemala,
you can buy it in a cafe for like 40p or something.
But
they sell bags of cacao over here for a tenner, 20 quid. More.
Cacao
ceremonial cacao.
Expensive.
Yeah, but ceremonial cacao is not even ceremonial cacao, because they don't even do ceremonial. They don't do cacao ceremonies in the place it comes from. So the Western world kind of, I think, puts way too. It's a selling aspect in it. They can try and earn as much money as they can by making things up. And reality is, if you go back to where these things come from and these traditions come from, you'll find a completely different story. And
a bit like Indian food. You go to India, like we were having that discussion today when we went for lunch, and you went for hypnotherapy today, and they travelled India, lived there for years, and our friends shared with us that the food in India is so different,
so what you
so
get
cheap
over here.
and everything to over here, and not like the standard korma we get at the local Indian at the end of the street. But these are, again, totally different topics, and we'll go on.
They are, but it's
relevant. You know?
They are, but it shows the effect of what the Western world, and especially the spiritual community in the Western world, and how they suit things or twist things for their agenda.
Is that ego?
Yeah, 100% that's ego.
Is that ego?
It's massively ego, and also, like I said, I know it's a different podcast altogether, but the cacao thing, once we learned that from the place it comes from, it is quite deceitful to say, right, I'm going to do ceremonial cacao in a bag. What is ceremonial cacao? What's the difference between normal cacao and ceremonial?
Well, that's why I contacted.
Is it the fact that you've put that cacao in a bag with love and done a ceremony as you put it in the bag? Or is it a bag of cacao that you only use in a ceremonial environment? What is the difference? Yeah. And that's the thing, but because it says ceremonial on the bag, it makes it look more special. But it's just cacao. It's cacao, it's the root of the plant.
And when I contacted a shaman that I'd personally had shamanic wound cleansing with, I'd had soul retrieval with, and I'd had my first ever Reiki training with her many years ago, and she'd upped and gone to Guatemala just before COVID hit with her children. And I reached out to her and said, can you share with me your experience with cacao where you are? And she'd said, we just drink it every day. Everyday life. The children
it's like
eat
the
coffee. Cacao. It's like a coffee is over here. Yeah. She said there is no ceremony. There is, we just all have cacao day to day. It's like you would have a cup of tea back at home. And it's so cheap, between 40 to 80p. And she sent me this huge message on how it had been monetised, westernised, everything. And then you see, the likes of huge. I mean, it's everywhere now.
Well, no, but then
in the UK is
the other thing as well is then you see cacao ceremonies that charge like fortunes for you to go and attend this cacao ceremony, but that's not even real. It's just been invented by the Western world. It never came from the tribes.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I've got a few.
The ceremony, I would say, weddings. They used to have cacao in the tribes. They used to give cacao to kids as chocolate before bed. And they'd have it at weddings or whatever, what they would call a wedding. It'd be more like a hand fasting, wouldn't it?
I mean, I know that we drink cacao when we want to connect deeper to the heart space.
100%,
When I know if I want an energy boost and to improve my iron levels, or I've got a bit of a sugary craving.
It can calm you a lot as well.
Yeah, massively.
Like if you're an anxious person, cacao is a very good thing to have. And maybe if you had it on a morning, it can calm your nerves, it can calm your system.
Oh, massively.
Which is really good, but I think there needs to be some truth on it. And it's exactly the same with the Cambo frog. Because even that then, I remember seeing an article that they're becoming endangered. Like, people are importing them to different places. The actual frog. Like, they're capturing the frogs in the Amazonian, like, because they know that there's a demand. And when there's a demand for anything, somebody will go out of the way to make sure that they're the supplier for this demand. When there were a demand for this Cambo, they're going out and capturing frogs, taking them out of their environment just to scare them enough to get the
secretion.
The chemical. And it's just like, do we really want to do that? The tribes do it once a year. And they're not doing 1,000 frogs. They're doing a couple of frogs to get enough for a number of males in the tribe to go on the hunt.
And there's this perspective of if you do really want to try something like that, why not take yourself to the actual
Go to
environment?
Amazon.
Go to the Amazon.
Go with the tribe.
Learn. Go with the tribe. We know people that have done that authentically and that have really respected the animal, the medicine, the learning, the practice.
If
and
you're
I am
do
much more.
Yeah.
I'm much more on board with that. I personally, it's not for me trying Bufo, definitely not, or Cambo at the moment. I have thought about the Cambo, but for now, you know, especially with breastfeeding, and it's just not for me, you know.
No, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. I don't even think it was for me, but
it happened to me.
But I don't even think it was for me. But because I didn't know that much about it, I just went along with it, and as it turned out, everything the practitioner said it would do, it did.
You admitting to being easily led, Mr. Crosfill?
I'm admitting that in that time, desperation took place. I needed something to change my outlook on my environment, my life, and give me answers about where I was in that moment. And it was more of a desperation. I needed something, and I was willing to do anything because it were either that or suicide.
Wow.
It were either, it might not have been that, it could have been anything, but it were either something or suicide, wasn't it? And
well, I'm really glad that
me too.
you chose Bufo.
Obviously, because after having that experience as well, and there'll be people that might watch this who have experienced close family that have committed suicide, and I don't mean to offend anybody by this all. I've had friends that have done it, and it's awful. But by having this experience and truly feeling what it's like to die, in a sense, and then given the opportunity to come back, it makes you really realise that suicide is not the answer. It's not. It's really not the answer. It's far from. It's the last thing that is the answer. Like, there's so many ways you can change your life. There's so many ways that you can change your outcome. There's so many things you can do. There is some aspects of people, whether in certain situations in their life, maybe you see people who go to that end of life clinic or something in Switzerland, and that's because they've got a chronic illness or something. And
euthanasia.
Or the bedridden. Okay, there's not really much you can do to change your life. You can change your perspective, but ultimately, it's whatever. But I'm on about if it's just depression and you feel suicidal, please believe that there is other ways. There is other ways. Maybe
one day we could podcast on that, and you know that I suffer with suicidal ideation.
Yeah.
That would be something maybe for you to interview me on.
Yeah, I would, yeah. But there is other ways, because you realise that depression is just literally the perspective.
And if somebody watching this is going through depression or struggles with suicidal ideation or is at that point, please reach out to us. Yeah. Seek help. Talk to Samaritans. Text. I think it's shout.
Yeah. What you need to do as well.
There's a few message platforms that you can text to get help, and they'll reply. You don't even have to speak to somebody.
Taking from my experience, if someone is out there feeling this depression, maybe they're not happy within their life, or maybe they're not. They just feel like they're never fulfilled. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is purpose. A lot of people suffer from depression because it's like they don't suit the purpose, or they don't know why they're here, and they're very confused, and they're like they're like a boat with no sail, so they're just going around in circles, no direction, whatever. You could always take from my experience and start doing the same. Evaluate your circle, evaluate who's at your table, who are your friends. Are they a good influence on you? Really think about it. Are they a good influence on you? Do they encourage you? Do they support you? Look at the people, look at your environment. Is it your job that's bringing you a lot of upset, a lot of mental health? Is it your job? Because if it's your job, and I know there's a fear of money, and I know there's a fear like, oh, well, if I leave it, I might not have this. So what? Like, I had nothing, and it was freeing. It was unbelievably freeing. Like, who cares? You can always build it. You can always go and get a job at McDonald's, go and get a job you know,
one door closes, another
Starbucks,
door opens.
it doesn't matter. As long as you can pay your bills, it doesn't matter what you do. Because what you'll find is by changing job and changing environment, your mind and perspective will change. Like, just try that exercise if you are going through that. Because it is perspective. It genuinely is. It's your environment. It's the avatar. Trying to be somebody you're not is also something that can really cause depression, because you're living in a body. You live. I call it Avatar. It's my way of explaining things. But the film Avatar, you are a person living in an avatar. To everybody else, they just see the avatar. They don't see the person in the avatar. The person in the avatar is you.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people live in that avatar, so they're presenting a completely different human being to everybody else to suit everybody else's expectations, and to get people to like them, and
validation. And a lot of that is what comes on social media.
But that's ego as well.
Yeah,
it's ego. But my point is like, if you find out, if you really look at who you are, again, if I ask somebody, who are you? Oh, I'm Martin. I'm not Martin. I could go and change my name for £20 on a depot. So my point is like, I could be Martin today, but if I wanted to be called Andrew tomorrow, I can go and make that happen. So your name is not who you are, but we define ourselves by our name. So if somebody asks you who you are, I guarantee 90% of people will not be able to answer that question. The first thing that will come out of their mouths is the name. And when I say, if I turned around and said, no, I mean, who are you? Then do you know how they define themselves? By what they do for a living. Who are you? I'm an electrician. That's not who you are. That's what you do. You know, who are you? Okay, well, you know, I've explained that's not who you are, that's what you do. Oh, I'm a dad. Okay, you're a father, but again, that's still not who you are. That's, you know what I mean? Like, who are you? And that's a very, very, very hard question to answer, and the only way that you'll be able to answer it is by soul searching. Like, who are you? Well, I'm actually quite an emotional person. You know, somebody could say I'm an emotional person. I'm quite sensitive. I'm, you know, an explorer. I'm, as in, with the mind, I delve deep into conversations. I'm a lover. I'm this. That's who you really are. They are answers to who you really are from a personality perspective.
Thank you.
You know? But yeah, anybody who's going through that, please look at your perspective, look at your life, look at your circle, and see if there's anything you change. Get rid of your job if it's that what's causing your problems. And then reach out. But yeah, ego death will have a profound healing sensation, I think. And everybody should experience it at least once.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing all of that.
You're welcome.
It has been very enlightening, wild, wonderful, and yeah, a really interesting part of your life that you've shared. So
yes,
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You don't get a waffle wanker mug.
No, I
don't. But yes,
yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
Right. Thank you for tuning in.